Hello there, my friends. Hank here, and today we're going to carry on with our work on this 1/48 scale B-17. And our focus today will be on the engine exhaust and oil staining on the upper surfaces of our wings. The mighty Flying Fortress was powered by 4 supercharged Wright Cyclone R-1820 air-cooled radial engines, and it turns out that those 36 cylinders firing away and working to keep these birds flying tended to make a bit of a mess. If we look at period reference material, including these wonderful original color shots from William Wyler's 1944 Memphis Belle documentary, it's clear to see that the B-17 often is streaked with oil and fume stains trailing from the engine cowlings both before leaving and after returning from a mission. So today we're going to learn some quick and easy techniques for replicating this staining on your next B-17 model project, so you can add that extra sense of realism to your own war-weary fort. For my stains, I like to start with a little satin white, believe it or not, because this is going to help add some dimensionality to our effect here. If we stick with just black, it tends to be a little flat, so we're going to combat that by starting with this white. Now what we're going to want to do is tighten the flow nozzle on our airbrush way down so we can get a nice controlled line here. We're going to pick a spot trailing from the cowl flaps on one of our engines and start to lightly spray in this short fume trail. For this first color, a good rule of thumb is not to proceed past the end of the engine nacelle. Just keep it up on the engine itself. Next, we're going to grab a little orange rust. I know, sounds a bit weird, but stick with me here. Once again, this is all about building up some depth and interest in our staining. Now, these lines are going to be even shorter than our white streaks. Try to shoot for just about half the length of the white, as you can see here. Try to spray right in the center of our white stain. Alright, now finally for our third color, we're going to grab some flat black. And this is where we can get a little more artistic with it. I would highly recommend pulling up a reference image to give you a little guidance on how the airflow would affect these oil and exhaust streaks. I'll provide some at the end of the video so you can pause on those if you'd like. But try and envision how the airflow running over the wings of the fort would affect these stains. These 4 vents behind each one of the engines, for example, are for the intercoolers, and these would disrupt the straight flow of any lubricant or fume staining on the wing. Now, my effort here, I will say, is a little bit more exaggerated than you usually see in reference media, but I was intentionally a little heavy-handed here for the sake of our demonstration and to really drive this effect home, because I plan to display this bird up on the wall when it's finished, so it's really up to you how heavy you go on this staining. And there you have it, my friends. Just like that, some realistic upper wing engine staining for your B-17. If you'd also be interested in a tutorial on painting and weathering the superchargers and exhaust pipes for the fort, please let me know down in the comments below. That could easily be a full lesson on its own. And if you missed my previous video on painting up the mighty Flying Fortress, you can check that out right here.